please know that a team and a group is not the same thing. And the reason for that is that a group is a random selection of people, while a team is purposefully selected and everybody in the team has a common goal. You can think of a football team. They don't pick themselves. They are purposefully selected and they have a common goal, and that common goal, depending on what the team is, who the team is, will differ. So if you support Man United or Manchester City or Liverpool or Chelsea, then your goal is most likely to win the Premier League. But if you are like me and you support Everton or maybe Tottenham or West Ham or one of those teams that's just below the top 4, the top 5, then your goal is to get into European football, and then you are actually quite happy. And then one year you might actually win the league again and pull a Leicester, but then everybody's surprised. Okay, so but what we are talking about in this chapter is not so much any team, not a sports team, but a work team. So what do we expect to find in a work team? We're looking for people who have complementary skills. So it means that they don't have the exact same skill set, but their skills complement each other so that we can actually achieve the goal of the work team. They have this common purpose. They have performance goals, which will lead them towards the common purpose, and there is mutual accountability. And then what we want to achieve really is a self-directed work team, which is a team that works well without managerial supervision. Okay, but if that's going to happen, you need a good team leader. So let's have a look at the functions of the team leader. Well, what does the team leader do? The team leader plans, control, support, inform, and evaluate the team. Okay, so that's what the team leaders do. It must give the team specific tasks and define those tasks well. So far, so good. Now the challenging bit, the team leader must accommodate the individuals in the team, which means that he must be able to match the individual and the organizational needs. He must keep the team focused and he must develop the team. The team must get better, in other words. And then the team leader needs to change the team if needed. If somebody just is not a fit for the team, after a period, and you're going to see what that period is, then you change the team, but not from the outset. Okay. And the important thing, the team leader is not the boss of the team. The team leader can be a manager, but it doesn't have to be a manager. And even if it is a manager, he must distinguish between his role as manager and his role as team leader. What about the team members? They are individuals with personalities, with own goals and with own needs, and they must communicate, listen, and cooperate while they are part of the team, and then also encourage one another and stay focused, and then, hey, the team might be successful. Now let's have a look at team development. So Bruce Tuckman, I actually still need to research old Bruce Tuckman a little bit more. He came up with the 5 stages of team development. Those stages are forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Okay, so forming, they get together. Storming, a lot of conflict. Norming, we now have decided where we fit in, what we're going to do. Performing, we're actually doing the work. And then an important thing is adjourning. Teams are not permanent institutions. Okay. So I think in this regard, we are mostly talking about a project team that gets together to perform a specific task, and when that task is completed, they adjourn and they go back to their work units. Now, on this slide, I have looked at the first two of those stages, being forming and storming. And then on the next slide, I will look at the next three phases being norming, performing, and adjourning. And the way I've done it for you is I have broken each phase down in the nature of the phase. How does that phase look? The strategies that the team leader must take in that particular stage, and then the performance that we can expect in the stage. Okay, so how does the forming stage look? There's a lot of eagerness. People are socializing, having fun. There's a lot of questions. When there is talk, it's on safe topics because we want the other people in the team to like us. We focus on a group identity. It's we are, we against the world, wonderful. And that's the nature of the forming stage. During the stage, the team leader must take the lead, give consistent instructions, and respond quickly, because you cannot allow the team to deteriorate into a club. And if the team is stuck in this stage, then you have a social club and the team will not ever get to the performing stage. Then in stage 2, the following inevitably happens. Inevitably, always, in other words. So the team leader must expect this. If the team leader does not expect the storming stage, he is going to panic and he's going to run away in this stage. It is the most challenging stage, but it is needed. So, competition arises between team members. Some team members are showing resistance. They don't like what they are experiencing in the team, and there's conflict. Okay, now you have people in this team who are slowly but surely grabbing each other's by the throat. Other people in the team see this and they now not participating anymore. They draw into their shell. Okay, and there is high emotions. Voices are raised. Curses are being pronounced. And tears are sometimes flowing. Okay, team leader, don't run away. Okay, please. What the team leader needs to do is to normalize matters. Okay, because we can't be stuck in this forever. Okay, so try and resolve the conflict. Okay, encourage leadership. Now that might actually be through the assignment of roles, more specific roles. And then you do this. This is your strong area. So when it comes to this thing, we're going to listen to you. That type of thing. And then point towards the group norms. You're not there yet, but you are giving the people in the team the vision and the way to move forward. And in this stage, performance is low. That is why you need to move through the stage. Okay. So really the team leader wants the stage not to continue for too long, but if you try and stop the stage too quickly, we get something that is called pseudo society. So the team looks like a team, it kind of operates like a team, but at its core, it is not a team yet. Okay. So just like with any relationship actually, you will go through this storming stage. Okay. And it is the same with a team. Okay, now we get to the next stage. Things are now looking up a little bit. So in the next stage, the norming stage, there is reconciliation. We make peace. There is hugs. Hopefully not between men and women. You don't want to get into trouble. There is relief. I guess the relief is mostly on the side of that person that wanted to run away and the team leader. There is engagement again now. People start to engage again. There is support and there is now group cohesion. We are now a group, okay? And we know we are a group when we actually reach the norming stage. Strategies that the team leader must apply in this stage: recognize the efforts of the people, okay? It's recognizing the efforts. The people are not performing yet, not in the performing stage. So you can't expect too much of your team in this stage, but you are recognizing the efforts of the individual team members. You provide learning opportunities. Okay, say, aha, yes, we tried this now, it didn't work too well, don't worry, let's see what we can do better. Constant feedback. Okay, because you want to leave the team to run. I mean, it's not like the captain needs to bring the team together after every 2 minutes and have a team talk. You can't do that. You want the wings to run. You want the defenders to defend. You want the goalkeeper to stop the goals. You want the guys in midfield to distribute the ball. You don't have to tell them that every time. But in this stage, in the norming stage, think of the norming stage really as being on the practice pitch before the game. You are now practicing, and so you need to get this constant feedback. And you must monitor the group energy, because you cannot afford the group to slip back into the storming stage. Okay. You want them to move forward. If in the norming stage you have individuals that is pulling the group back into the storming stage, then it is possibly time only now to replace a team member. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so Fahima Shakil, that was actually Mapula who phoned me now. So I will phone her back later, just saying to you that your boss is looking for you. Okay, or for me, I don't know. So we can just send a message here saying in class. Else is going to keep on phoning me. Yeah, that's what your mentors and your bosses do. They phone me. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, let me get my bearings again. And then of course the performance is now back to medium. Then in the performing stage, the people are now interdependent on each other. They rely on each other. The team is productive. They are task orientated. They are working towards achieving the task, both the smaller task and the bigger task. So they're also process orientated, and everything is healthy within the system. If you see those criteria, then you know that the team is performing and everything is good. And okay, in this stage, the team leader is only guiding the group. Okay, he's allowing the group to make its own decision, to solve their own problem, and he is letting them share their learning experiences. So now we are learning from each other. And then very important in this stage is that the team leader must allow the group or in fact initiate the celebration of achievement. Then in the adjourning phase, the group is now going away back to their other task. It's ending, and there is sadness. Okay, but there is still a process orientation. Why? There's a process orientation because the group has now realized some best practices. So the things that the group have now started doing that works will continue to be done in the organization. And in this stage, there is recognition. Okay. What must the team leader do? He must surmise or you must evaluate the team summatively, saying this is what we achieved. Really, the project report. That's what we're talking about, the summative team evaluation. Recognize the changes that took place, and that is then a good time to really have a reward ceremony for the people in the team if they achieved their goals. And then in 1974, Thomas and Kilman, they were busy studying for their doctorate at the time. They came up with a grid concerning conflict resolution styles that resembles the management styles of Blake and Mouton. Now, we will see what I did. I used the same colors, but I did tone them down a little because it just made the reading easier. And they said you can do the same thing in terms of conflict resolution styles, but now instead of measuring it, a concern for people against a concern for production, you are now measuring assertiveness against cooperativeness. Okay. Now both assertiveness and cooperativeness is good. Okay, but the way they identify it is they say assertiveness says this is my concern for my own agenda, my own goals, my own things that I must achieve in the workplace, while cooperativeness indicates a concern for others people agenda. Okay, and then if you are not very assertive and you're also not very cooperative, the way you are going to deal with conflict is by avoiding it. Okay. If you are very cooperative but not very assertive at all, then you are going to be accommodating. Okay. If you are okay on both assertiveness and on cooperativeness, you will say, oh, well, you lose some, you win some, and you're going to be a compromising, you're going to follow the compromising conflict resolution style. If you are very assertive and not very cooperative, you are going to be your conflict resolution style is going to be by competing. I must win. Okay. It's a competitive style. So now here's the thing. If you now go back to the team development, the guys who have the competitive resolution style are actually extremely happy in the storming stage. They are having fun. And they don't realize that they are causing other people harm. Okay, they just enjoying it. Oh man, there's competition. I'm going to win. Okay, and then of course the ideal conflict resolution style is collaborating, where you say I am assertive, but I'm also cooperative. Okay, there is a big difference between the two grids though. In this management style grid that you have here, indifferent is really bad and sound is really good. But when you have a look at the conflict resolution style, we are saying that sometimes each of these styles can be better than the others. So although collaborating is what you hope to achieve, that's the holy grail once again, sometimes it is not that bad to avoid conflict or to accommodate other people or to compromise or to go into the competing phase. Okay, and I'm going to show that to you now. Now, you can go onto the internet today and you can search for Blake and Mouton management styles, and you are going to find a couple of free tools there, and you might be able to complete that tool just like you did for the personality profile and find your own management style. Okay, knowing that you are moving towards being a 9-9. Not so with conflict resolution styles. And the reason for that is I don't know what happened to Dr. Thomas, but Dr. Kilman is alive and well, and he is the CEO of Kilman Diagnostics. And so if you want to do conflict test on your conflict resolution style, then you will have to visit kilmandiagnostics.com and do it online. And of course, Dr. Kilman is not in this to help me with my slides. He is in this to make some money as well and to make organizations better. And so there is a cost to it. It's not very expensive, but you can. But I can't tell you to go somewhere and do this conflict resolution grid for free, because you can't. You have to do it at Kilman Diagnostics. And he at the Kilman Institute, they do a lot of work on team development and management and conflict resolution. So much so that you can actually do formal courses through the Kilman Institute and become an expert in team leadership and conflict resolution styles. Okay. I would actually say that many middle managers could do very well if they actually did that and become expert in it. So now, what's up with these little animal figures here? Well, if you think of competing, we just picked the line. I say we. I noticed other authors they pick the line to say we associate competing with lion, we associate avoiding with the tortoise, we associate accommodating with a chameleon, and compromising with the zebra, and collaborating with the dolphin based on animal behavior. I have not spent a lot of time around lions, but I do know that they do want to win and get the food for themselves. I owned a chameleon once in my life many years ago, until I found out you need a permit to own one, and then I quickly gave it away. I don't have much experiences with tortoise at all. The only zebras I have seen are from afar, so I don't know why they say zebras are compromising. And I have never personally swum with the dolphins, but it is an easy way to remember the conflict resolution styles and how the grid works if you are able to associate the little picture with it. Okay, let's move down. Okay. Now let's have a look at each one of these styles. So let's look at the competitive style, okay? If this is your conflict resolution style, you might find that you are competitive, that you are a fighter, that you always want to win, and you like others to lose. Now, here's the thing. When you are working with difficult people, or if it is important to resolve the conflict quickly and cheaply, that is a good conflict resolution style. But be careful, it can lead to shutdown. Remember, when we go back here to in team development, in the storming stage, the guy who is the lion is in his element, but the person who is the tortoise is now not participating anymore. Okay. While the poor zebra is in conflict and somebody else is maybe crying, so you don't want that. Okay. So it can lead to shutdown. There's no real commitment, because even if the conflict is resolved, the other person just feels bullied. That's the problem. And therefore, it actually damages relations. Okay. What about the accommodating? So now this is the little chameleon, and the chameleon says, oh, well, you know, it's all about cooperation and not really about assertiveness. So the characteristics of somebody with this conflict resolution style is they prefer to accommodate others. They are self-sacrificial. They think, losing is okay, others can win. And the advantages of this conflict resolution style is that it provides quick resolution of unimportant issues. Choose your battle. Not all issues are equally important. Okay. You're going to feel good about your sacrifices, and it is a way to build trust. But on the disadvantage side, you could be viewed as weak. It could lower your self-esteem, and unfortunately, it sets a tone for the future, where if there's conflict again, the other people are simply going to expect of you to be accommodative. Okay. What about the tortoise? Avoiding. Okay. I don't know what I did there. That is not avid. Okay, so let me just fix that. Avoid head-on problems. So the person who would rather deal. By the way, I don't know what happened here. I didn't. That you see here on the slide here. It's getting weirder and weirder. The text direction was actually up to down, but when I have a look at the slide, oh no, I see. I must not click in the slide. Okay, that's because I clicked avoided. Okay, so somebody with this conflict resolution style prefers to avoid head-on problems, withdraws, but importantly, don't care about the other person. The avoidance is not like with the chameleon because they want to accommodate the other people. They don't care about the other person, but they just want to avoid the problem. Okay? And sometimes it is good because you can avoid unimportant or short-term issues. There's no solution cost because there won't be a solution, so there's no implementation cost. And it is actually a good style for gathering information and maintaining secrecy. So we looked at the little tortoise and tortoise. I always get confused. Turtle, tortoise. Wow. Okay. So you might look at the grid and say that's all bad, but now you see that sometimes it can be good. If your intention is info gathering and secrecy, then it's actually a good conflict resolution style. But the problem is there will be long-term hostility because the only thing that people are going to remember is that you just didn't want to participate. No solution is possible because nobody knows really what you want. It damages the harmony, the communication, and the esteem, and it actually just prolongs the conflict. Okay. Remember, I said to you, when you are in stage 2 storming, you must get through it. And if you have people who refuses to participate, you are not going to get to the norming stage. Okay. Okay, let's look at the zebra and the dolphin. The compromise conflict resolution strategy. The characteristic there is you prefer to compromise, you want to negotiate, it's what you do, and you think to yourself, you know what, winning and losing are both acceptable. Not the worst resolutions, the conflict resolution style in a relationship, by the way. Okay. Inevitable that you will have to compromise in the relationship. Advantages, it's good when time is of the essence and it avoids the harm of a stalemate. Okay, so once again, remember, we linked the compromising conflict resolution style with the status quo manager. And what happened with the status quo manager? Things are still going on. We may not be moving forward, but production is taking place and things are going on as normal. If we have a look at the conflict resolution style, it avoids the stalemate. Things can go on. The disadvantage is that the outcome that is achieved is not necessarily the best outcome. You might find that commitment among some of the team people in the team is lacking, and it is open for abuse by a dominant side. That's the unfortunate disadvantages of it. So then we get to collaboration, which is really where we want to be. If that's your conflict resolution style, you prefer to collaborate, you believe in mutual problem solving, and you want everybody to win. What's the advantages? It increases the probability of goal achievement. we can actually move forward towards the goal. It increases trust and it builds relationships. Okay, because now we are moving forward as a team. Remember, collaborate, let's go back there. Collaborate is tied with, hey, where's my management style one? There. With a sound manager, which is team management. That is why we see that. Okay. It achieves buy-in and joint ownership. We are a team. We are going to do this thing together. And importantly, it sets a best practice. And the moment you have a best practice in an organization, you have something that can be repeated again and again and again, and it will lead to the best results. Okay. What's the disadvantages of people with a collaborative conflict resolution strategy? It requires much time and effort. Remember, I said to you when we looked at the sound manager, to be a sound manager where you contribute and commit, it takes time and effort. It is the same here with this resolution style. It takes time and effort. There needs to be a possible solution. If a solution is not possible and the collaborator is looking for that solution and is not going to find it, he's going to go off his trolley because there's no solution. It is resource intensive. Okay, so it does not only require time and effort, it also requires money. Okay, don't appoint a collaborative team leader if you're not prepared to give him the resources. Okay, because he's going to resign, it's not going to work. And it is difficult to use in emotional conflicts. Okay, so if you're sitting with a team, let's just go back here, in the storming stage, where you have strong competitive people and strong avoidance people, it's going to be difficult to convince them to collaborate. It might be easier to convince them to just compromise in the short term and then later on work towards collaboration. Okay. Because why? We said, the advantages of compromise, it is good when time is of the essence. So sometimes it is good to strike a compromise and then move from compromise to collaboration. Okay. All well and good. How do we practically achieve that as the team leader? Well, first thing, and that's just the overguide, the guiding principle, is be sensitive to other self-esteem. If you are the team leader, know who the lions and the zebras and the dolphins in that team is, and listen with understanding so that you can get them at least to compromise or ideally to collaborate. Okay. Obviously, we want to live in peace with others. Peace is a goal. It's a biblical goal. It's how it's going to be in heaven. It's peace. But that does not mean that we must avoid conflict. Because remember, the problem with avoidance, the little turtle or tortoise there, is that there is no possible solution. That's the problem. Okay, so that is why we cannot avoid it. Okay, but it must be handled appropriately. Because if it is poorly handled, it will break relationships. So how do we handle the conflict appropriately? First thing practically to do, raise and acknowledge issues. There will be issues, raise and acknowledge them. Define them so that we know what the problem is and what we are talking about. Sometimes people will disagree while they are in fact in agreement. Now, I know that I abused that as a child when I was growing up, and you possibly did the same. My parents would sometimes agree that I did something wrong, but then they would disagree about the punishment. And I would then sit on the side and I would fuel that disagreement, because I know that as long as they are disagreeing on the punishment, Um, I might actually get away with this thing that I did that deserves punishment after all. Okay. Establish who is affected. It's the third thing that we do. Then communicate feelings. Men, communicate your feelings. It's not an optional thing. If you do not, we always say the guy that is very task orientated, yeah, will often say something like feelings does not matter. Now, scary thing is when I looked at this model, I discovered I would have loved to think that I'm a sound manager. Um, I think I am actually a little bit paternalistic, but at least on a line, maybe a little bit above the line that I drew in here. Okay, so towards sound, but sometimes I can be a little bit paternalistic. But because I would say something like, man, I don't care about your feelings now. We need to get the job done. Sorry, we are never going to get to collaborate if I say that. Communicate the intention to change. Okay. Listen, I do not want to be stuck in this phase here where we are not getting anywhere. Don't want to be stuck in the storming stage. You're communicating that your goal is actually to perform. I want to get there. Okay. Want to perform. It's not that I just want to be stuck in that style. And then, of course, listen to the other people's perspective and then reach agreement. So practically, how do we resolve conflict? We follow these